Hi Capricorn, welcome to your November 2022 Tarot Scope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, my readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Cappy, this is for you. And I always advise that you watch all three to get a clearer, more complete picture of how they're going to speak to you. With that said, remember they are general readings. Not everything's going to resonate with everybody and that is just fine. You should always use your own discernment. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise. They help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So for your actions and interactions with the world at large over the course of November, you have the Two of Cups. Beautiful. So a lot of your actions this month are very much focused on working with others, right? So this is a month where a lot of what you do, it's not necessarily that things are by committee, but it's almost like you understand that actually, you know what, is teamwork that really is going to make the dream work this month, right? The other thing with the Two of Cups, this is you softening to maybe either a certain person or certain people that you haven't seen eye to eye with recently. So this could be maybe somebody that you work with and you're kind of like, you know what, you actually really just get on my nerves. This could be a month where actually things start to ease up in that regard. When it comes to partnerships, connections or collaborations of all kinds, this is where you're really going to find not only your allies, but more importantly, where you yourself are ready to be a bit softer and maybe to start forging connections where maybe you previously didn't see them. Like the thing with Capricorn people that I've noticed, even in the workplace, right? With Capricorns that I've worked with, if they can see somebody as a slacker, somebody's not a worker, they don't like to, and you get that everywhere, right? There's always one that's like, they kind of just drag their heels. The Capricorn people are allergic to those people. And for that reason, they tend to be quite frosty towards them. This month, maybe there's someone like that in your workspace and it's like where maybe you've had issues with them because they are diametrically opposed to your nature. It's kind of like that's what's caused the friction. And this month, it's almost like you're looking at them and saying, you know what, you are who you are. I'm not going to be able to change you and I can't give you my work ethic. Right? But what I can do is make my life easier by softening my approach towards you. And I actually think it's going to work wonders this month. I really feel a lot of you, this isn't that you're losing your edge, it's that you're softening those edges so that you can give yourself an easier time moving forward. I'm totally here for it. I think this is going to be a great month for you guys making allies where you previously had thought maybe you only had enemies or irritants, let's say. For your communications and conversations, you've got the Tower card. So you've got this coupled with the Two of Cups, right? That's an argument. Right, that's an argument that is brewing. Now, what's funny about this though, I don't think that this is, for some of you it may be you, right? Very, very, very interesting. But what I also feel is potential is possibly here, and I think this is closer to it. This month you're going to hear of a breakup, a divorce, a marriage ending, a partnership, a connection, a collaboration, and when you hear it, you're going to be really surprised. Like we all know that one couple, they've been together forever. And, it just doesn't cross your mind that they might one day turn around and say, oh, by the way, we're splitting up. This could be that. And I got to be honest, I kind of feel like maybe not that it's making you sad, but it might make you kind of like, holy crap, I can't believe this is happening. Do you know what I mean? Like you might be genuinely really surprised when you hear who it is that's splitting up, who it is that is, they're saying, yeah, that's it, we're done, we're not, Remember Mars is retrograde, so the chances are this breakup is not going to stick. Just my 2 cents. Now, in terms of communications, I'm going to say not only is this a month for you making allies, potentially in places and spaces that you're kind of like, yeah, I can't believe we're actually getting on or that we've got something in common. It might become as a real shock. This will also be a bumpy ride when it comes to communications this month, all right? So do expect things to get loud. Do expect things to get a little bit bumpy along the bottom. There's no getting around it, right? It's the Tower card. For a select few of you, this could be that you're ending a friendship, a partnership, or a relationship, etc. You know, it's very possible because it's the Two of Cups, which is your actions, right? But I feel like this is you're either making an ally or forging some connection that you really did not expect to make. For your heart and half, you've got the Eight of Cups. So for a select few of you, it does look like you are spending time, or either you're spending time away from home or your significant other is spending time away from home. And it's kind of like for a lot of you, this may be a moment where you kind of think, well, this is a bit of an anomaly. Now, that Eight of Cups with the Tower card, this is probably going to see you this month needing to intervene on somebody else's behalf. So it might be that you're called upon for your assistance. Maybe it's just for your steady sort of hand on the tiller energy that you tend to bring. For those of you that are single, yeah, I'm gonna be honest, if you're single and you're connecting with someone this month, not only is this person going to be nothing like what you have, you know, previously sort of been, you know, the type of person that you've been with previously, I also feel that this is going to be a moment where you're kind of like, am I doing this? Are we going to cross this line? So for some of you, this could be, maybe this person is a friend. Maybe this is a person who you've dated before and everybody is kind of like, no, girl, no, right? Like, but there's something about this that I think is going to be shocking to everyone around you. So whoever you do end up dating or going down that path with, I think two things are going to happen. One, your emotional state is going to really shift in order to accommodate this partnership or this relationship. And two, you might get a little bit of kickback from the people that love and care for you, because it's like, what are you doing? They might think you're making a mistake, and only you can decide whether that's true for yourself. For those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, there's going to be some piece of information that comes to light this month. And I think it's going to really, it will either revolutionize the way that you see your relationship, meaning it will really change it, or it might be an answer that you've always had to a certain question. And when it comes in, it might be like, well, holy crap, you know, it might be, I don't know, let's say your partner once absolutely swung for somebody, you know, they're not a violent person, they're generally really nice to everybody, and one day, you know, in the past they absolutely flipped out on one of your friends, and you're like, you never really get to the bottom of like what happened, what that conversation was. That piece of information could come to you this month, and it might get you to see everything in a much sort of clearer light in some regard. It doesn't have to be anything bad, but I just think it will really, you might be like, wow, okay, so it's that, right? Now, for your money and materials, you've got the Three of Swords. So there is an expenditure that you're not expecting this month. Either that or the things that you have to usually spend out for this month are taking more money. One thing that I will say to you, especially because you've got that Two of Cups, this is not a month to be overly generous, all right? Just be generous, give, you know, because Capricorns are very giving. That's one thing that I've noted. Well, I know about you guys for sure anyway. I know Cappy energy, okay? But so for the first week of the month, you've got the Sun card underneath the Two of Cups. So your personal relationships are good. There's just some piece of information that's coming to light, and when it does, you might be like, oh my God, yeah, do you remember that time? So, you know, my partner flipped out on, and I never really understood what was going on. Maybe somebody comes to you and says, oh, you know, such and such had a go at this person, and this was the reason why. They'd been whispering this in their ear or whatever. And it could be like where you're like, whoa, okay, now it all makes sense to me. I really like that though. And like I said, I feel this first week even, it's almost like some new realization of, you know what, I can make you an ally. If I can put how I feel about your work ethic or whatever to the side, actually, we could get along. For your second week of the month, you've got the Emperor with the Tower card. So for those of you that, this is a boss. This is a problem, an issue, a dispute with a boss that's coming up, potentially with your workplace. I kind of feel for a lot of you, you may be not necessarily thrust into a position of leadership, but you might have to carry more weight at work this week, this second week of the month, than you expect. Something at your work, potentially something technological, is likely to break or to go down. And it's like you're one of the people that's like, all hands on deck. Yes, you know, everything is kind of crazy at the minute, but we can make this happen. It's like your really strong rooted center and your ability to problem solve on your feet is going to be so important for this second week. And because it's one of those moments at work where, you know, everyone's going to be like, oh, flapping around, and you're not going to be, this is actually a time for you to really demonstrate your worth. This is why you hired me, because this is what you saw in me for moments like this. And obviously, because there's not many moments like this, you don't always get to see it. Let me remind you of the badass that you hired when you said yes to me. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. For your third week of the month, you've got the Moon card. Something is coming to light here. And like I said, because the Moon card is the past, right? And this, for me, it feels like some past piece of information, some piece to a jigsaw puzzle that is potentially years old at this point. It might even be something that you've completely forgotten about. But when it comes up in conversation, you're going to be like, fuck, that's what it was all that time. For those of you that are single, I really do feel for those of you that are single, you're about to date someone, or maybe start dating again someone that everyone's like, what are you doing? It's not for them to decide, it's for you to decide. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it could be a what the fuck moment. A lot of people might be like, I don't know, I just hallucinated, what? So we'll see. For your money and materials, you've got the, for the fourth week, should I say, you've got the Justice card with the Three of Swords. That's a double hit of Libran energy, because the Three of Swords is ruled by Libra. And I gotta be honest with you, the Three of Swords is about a loss. The Justice card, when it comes to finances and money, this is not a week to sign a new contract. Unless you absolutely have to, this is not a good week to sign a new contract. I am going to say this to you as well. When it comes to finances, money and resources, there's some expenditure here that you're not expecting. And when it comes, it might come suddenly, but you have the money to cover it, all right? It's not going to be something that puts you out of pocket or drains your life savings, but it's like when it comes up, it's going to be like, you know, I'd had that money put aside for something else, all right? Now, for your moons, the full moon lunar eclipse for you is happening in your fifth house of pleasure, romance, fun, creativity, and joy. It's also the house of children. So if you have any children, this full moon lunar eclipse, it could be something shocking about a child. You know, maybe they come and say something to you and you're like, okay, how do I deal with this now? You know, it could be one of your personal projects, especially if you've got a project that relies on or revolves around technology in some way. And, you know, let's face it, what doesn't these days? Just be mindful that this full moon is also going to be the tail end to a story that started in April. What was going on for you at that time? Your message for the full moon lunar eclipse is the gate 39 and provocation. So I'm going to tell you straight up, especially for those of you that have children, one thing that I am really good at, maybe it's because I don't have children, maybe it's because I'm an Aquarius, maybe it's because I'm a gunkle, you know, like an uncle, but cooler because I'm gay. Jokes aside, one thing that I really do believe a lot of people don't do enough of these days is remember what it was like to be on the receiving end of a lecture from a parent or a superior. And this is something that I pride myself on for my nieces and nephews, right? I always say to myself, okay, how was I feeling when I was that age? And how did I want or need people to talk to me at that point? No, they don't. You know, if somebody's, you know, if they're your children, if they're a young person, no, they don't always know what's best for them. But sometimes they actually do. And, you know, this is one thing that I try to get across to my friends that have children, etc. Okay, I get it. I'm not a parent, but at the same time, I can bridge a gap that you're unable to see because you're so heavily emotionally invested. And so I will say to you, if your child comes to you and tells you, unless it's something where they're not safe or, you know, they're in danger, if you lose your shit on them, real talk now, I'm just going to be really 100 with you, right? If you lose your shit on them, they're never going to tell you anything again. I promise you that right here and right now. If, however, you say, okay, this is really hard for me to digest at the minute because I'm your parent, but talk to me. How did this situation evolve or whatever? I don't think it's necessarily bad or that they're in danger, but it is going to be something that either goes against the grain for you, or it's something maybe you would have made a different choice or whatever. We all say that. Until you're in the moment, you'll never know. Do you know what I mean? So, and the reason I say this is because the gate 39 and provocation, it's like something that somebody says to us, it gives us the right sort of, you know, it makes us angry enough to make a change in some regard. So this full moon, not going to lie, it's potentially quite intense. The new moon in the sign of Sagittarius is in your 12th house. So this is a fresh start on the deep internal self. And that gate 37 and sweetness is lovely because it actually talks about family. I think for a lot of you, you're going to be able to reframe your past in some way. And I wonder if that's not then necessarily just about a partner and some piece of a puzzle, but some piece of a puzzle from your own history. And that new moon in Sagittarius is actually a really nice one. It's going to help you understand, okay, now I understand my childhood better. Now I understand some of the challenges that I faced as a young person. It's like some part of your personal history. It's not being rewritten, but you are getting a fresh perspective on it that creates a lot of internal space. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic month. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.